love my partner, but they're struggling financially and avoids talking about it / our future. Hi, I, 28M, and my partner, 27M, have been together for 5 years and share an apartment that he had a year before we met. We have the same kind of humor and interests and show our affection every day and never miss cuddling to a TV show or movie during dinner. I love him very much. Even the few times we had an argument, we were able to calm down under 2 hours and discuss our feelings and then what we can do to find common ground. But when it comes to us talking about his job or how can we plan for getting him a better paying one, that conversation keeps getting pushed to maybe later. I have a decent paying office job in a graphic design studio that is contract to contract, so there's always the chance / anxiety that I might have to get another role at another company. Not the end of the world, just not a consistent permanent job. He didn't finish school. I won't hold it against him as it was for a crappy industry, and I'm proud he left instead of paying full tuition and hating the career. But to me that feels like step one, and maybe he could approach school again for the trades or something more reliable for his career. He only worked at retail stores his entire life, and is now a high position at a retail chain store, but it's still minimum wage and not enough to cover his share of bills consistently. He also spent all his savings to pay off school, get the apartment, and his car for all cash. So he didn't have any debt when we started dating, but also no savings as he was living paycheck to paycheck. Side note, I recently got into wasting my own money on buying things as coping from stress. I just realized it's an addiction, and I'm now trying to get over it. And I want to start setting up a budget for my own money and hopefully help my partner set one up too. Just a side note on what I want to control in my own situation before I mention my stress with the situation. So I have paid for both our bills and expenses multiple times thanks to unfortunate situations, like when he walked out on his second last job. I did tell him that was a bad decision, and he wasn't qualified for government financial support because he just left with no formal explanation, so I really hope he knows to not do that ever again. And again, when the next job fired him for taking 1 sick day longer than he requested. Anyways, he's been at his current store for a year, but has taken sick days, and apparently the boss has written it up as being too many in a row and gave him a formal warning. So I think he's on rocky ground there, and he can't afford to be fired. We do not share a bank account, and I would never let anyone have access to mine. But I do keep paying for gas or food when he has nothing after paying his bills. And 3 separate times I had to pay his monthly bills in full. He just try to pay me back on smaller things when he can. But it's grown to such a big debt he would have to me that I don't want him to pay me and once again have nothing left after a paycheck, because I fear the cycle would continue and I would just go back to pay more bills, keeping him more in debt. I have been too scared to keep tabs on him since I felt it would keep a power imbalance. But I am thinking it might be healthy to keep the receipts on what I pay, so we can both be more aware on how much I spend each week to help him. I have asked him about different ways to save / make more money, so both he and myself don't have to be as stressed about his lack of finances. Like if he can transfer to the store that is beside our house instead of traveling to the same store chain that is a 1.5-hour drive each way. He says that he doesn't like the boss at our local store. I asked if he would consider job shadowing me in my graphic design role so he could apply and get into that industry, but that's not for him. Art careers stress him out, and he doesn't want to think about the industry as a career. I asked if he could go to school or at least sit down and find out what career would be a good idea to look into and start a plan. When I had more money on hand, I was even offering to help pay for some tuition if he applied for bursaries. But he doesn't know what he would want to do, and thinking about going to school again is stressful. So he gets up and says maybe later. Also, it's not my place to try and force anyone to go to school. I try to be patient and asked him about school 6 times over 5 years. I know it's hard to even get a job with a degree, but it seems like that is a necessity to even be considered for a decent job at least. Also, just some extra info on why I'm finally freaking out. Not necessary to read since the how do I get us to finally talk about planning on improving his financial situation so he's not losing money / living paycheck to paycheck? And so I'm not paying for his bills to keep him afloat? Is my main question. So I feel sad about this recent situation. I've been trying to help him set up healthy goals for our future, like opening his first credit card last year, which took a while for him to agree to since he was against it because having any debt is a fear to him. I suggested it would be to put gas money on only once in a while and pay it off immediately. I was hoping since he had no debt, this would be a good way to build a credit score so in 10 plus years we can use his credit score and my already perfect credit score to get a good house loan. What I was not really supportive of was that he went for a store's card for their purse on their gas prices. I wish he went for a proper bank-issued card since it'd have lower interest rates, but oh well. But that was a costly mistake. The final straw for my patience on how this life is going was last week. His mom called in the morning many times, so I asked what's up. Apparently, he used his first ever credit card to pay for his bills and expenses when he was out of work a year ago, which is fine. I would do the same if I was unemployed for 2 months while looking for work too. But the kicker is that for some reason, he decided to stop paying off the credit card fees for the last 2 months because he was a little tight on money and thought it was hopeless to pay the card since the minimum fee he was paying was not making the price he owes go down. He owes $4,000 for those 2 months of unemployment. So not the worst price ever, but not great when he was already paycheck to paycheck. I think he genuinely did not know there are consequences to not paying, but I'm just upset he didn't tell me so I could figure out a plan with him, or worst case, I can pay the fees to help out. Now the collection company is calling his mom every day, and she gives them his number, and he tries to call them back, but they won't pick up the phone for almost a week now. Very stressful. But I just want to pay off the late fees on his behalf, so they don't sue him or something horrible. I'm so lost. I came into the relationship with $50,000 in my account, and now I'm at only $1,000. But of course, not just from his expenses, but my own financial addictions too. I'm just not sure how much of it went to financially covering him. Side note, I did make sure to set up my bank account to put $50 of each paycheck into a savings account for the last 4 years, and I have about $40,000 saved in that separate account. That is not going to be touched by anyone until I'm retired. I'm not too worried about my current finances yet. Also, sorry for rambling. A lot of that money being gone was from me sadly getting addicted to shopping for dumb luxuries. I will admit, I didn't think I would be alive past college and attempted my life once. I'm in a much better place, but I don't think I ever thought I would have more than $10,000 in my life and didn't plan on how to track or budget it properly. This last month, it finally happened where I borrowed more money on my own credit card than I currently have in my bank account. It's nowhere near over the limit, so I'm good, but I haven't been in this situation in all 12 years of owning a credit card. I would only put onto it what I could pay off right away. I feel so disgusted in myself and my poor financial habits. I take ownership for being frivolous and buying things for myself out of my means, but also I was not keeping track on how much I'm willingly giving to my partner, so I don't know how much of this loss was given to him. We both want to get a house one day. That is honestly my biggest financial goal in life. I love decorating our apartment so much and want a private home to live in without neighbors above us, and flooding our apartment every other year. It's a far-off goal, so we didn't talk about it much, but last we did he said that I'm probably going to buy it, and he'll pay me rent forever, which I don't want to happen, so that will be a conversation I need the courage to open up on. We need to talk more about the financial issues we both have, but I'm just scared he'll shut down and not keep me in the loop on his own struggles, like with his credit card not being paid and then not telling me about it. Also, I'm not sure how to have a mature conversation on planning our future without him shutting down. Underscore. TLDR. I'm trying to come up with supportive ideas on how my partner can get out of his financial struggles, but he doesn't want to fully discuss it, and I don't know how to approach this with him. On good weeks, he can only live paycheck to paycheck and can't seem to put away money for savings or as a financial float for emergencies which keep coming up. I make more than him and had to financially bail him out multiple times, but I feel we're at a crossroads since he doesn't want to go to back school or try to advance his career. Last we talked about this. He genuinely thinks making YouTube content is the dream job that will make him happy, which I'm happy for, but doubt that will be realistic or reliable for getting him out of the financial struggle he is currently in. And who knows how long until I'm in debt too, since I'm sometimes solely supporting us both.